to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Are you in a job that feels limited, confining, maybe even that you're kind of exploited or not valued that much? If so, you're not alone. Adam here, and I was working with a client that had a job, quite a stressful job, a high-pressure job, but they didn't really feel valued and they had dreams of escaping. But at the same time, they had certain limitations that felt like it was too much or too risky to go off and do their own thing. And this hypnosis session is all about helping to shift the identity to move from an employee, perhaps to a freelancer, or straight to a business owner. And I made that choice when I was 23 years old. I've only actually had two jobs. One was working for a radio station and the other was a PR agency. And then I thought, you know what, I want to own my own business. And the way I framed it is that if I did that at a young age, then even if I failed, I'd get so much knowledge and learning that it would be useful anyway. But if I succeeded, I would have built my own business at a very young age. So the last time I actually worked for anyone else as an employee, over 25 years ago. So that has given me a whole life of being able to do cool stuff like this and be a hypnotherapist. So I have two businesses. I still own my PR agency, but I also have this hypnotherapy business. And I get to live life on my terms, doing what I want. And in the analogy here for this client, it was when I was 23 years old, I jumped out of the Fishbowl, initially went into the pond, which became a very small business of being a one-man band, and then moved to a bigger business where I had employees working for me so I could leverage my time. And that's essentially the essence of this. Every business owner craves freedom over security, even though it carries more risk. That's the nature of an entrepreneur. They are risk takers. So if you like the idea of having the courage or the self-belief, or even just the willingness to try to explore something beyond just becoming an employee, this is a metaphor-rich hypnosis session which could get you thinking in a different way. Lots of metaphors, lots of animal metaphors in particular, because that resonated with the client that I was working with. It was created for an individual. Some of the references might not connect with you. So if you do like the idea of a session bespoke and tailor-made to you and your circumstances, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule a completely free consultation call. We'll have a chat and we might end up working together, me being a hypnotherapist for you. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place, ideally where you're not going to be disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that wonderful feeling of confidence. And as you exhale, just imagine how it would feel to breathe out doubt. Breathing in that confidence, exhaling doubt. And as you breathe in that confidence, I want you to think of a time that you felt full of confidence. Maybe you did something to a certain level. You accomplished something you weren't sure if you could. Just drift back to that memory. Not just of social confidence, but of the confidence that comes from competence. You were good at something. Drift back to that memory and feel how it feels to feel that level of confidence. Continue to breathe in, not just confidence, but deeper levels of relaxation. And continue to exhale any doubts, any fears, any worries. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. And I want you to get a sense that what if doubts and a lack of self-belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that limits your ability to grow? I want you to imagine a goldfish in a bowl. And I want you to get a sense that while the goldfish is in the bowl, it can only grow so big. And I want your doubts, your fears, and any limiting beliefs to feel like that bowl. And you're inside. And while those fears and insecurities, doubts and worries and limitations are there, there's only so much growth that you can do. And I want you to imagine that this bowl represents you being an employee. I want you to feel a sense of feeling confined, that you're fed only when fish food comes into the bowl. You're there for the amusement of other people. The value is being extracted from you. And I want you to feel limited in this bowl. And you've been looking at the world outside of the bowl, wondering if you'd ever be able to survive and thrive in that unfamiliar environment. But what if that's only because you haven't been in that environment? People could wonder if they'd be any good at scuba diving if they've never scuba dived. But when they try it, they learn they can do it. And I want you to feel that beyond the fishbowl is all of your capabilities. But you'll never know what they are if you remain in the fishbowl. And I want you to imagine what would happen to that goldfish if it was scooped up in a jug and then put into a pond. There's slightly more risks in the pond, but also a lot more opportunity. For the first time, this goldfish can explore, not limited to the monotony and repetition of the bowl. And I want you to imagine that moving from the fishbowl to the pond is like becoming a freelancer when you've only ever had a job. But I want you to feel that while there is more freedom, while there is more creativity, there's also still limitations. And I want you to get a sense that in the pond, sometimes the owner of the pond changes the water and throws all the things living in the pond away. I want you to feel a sense of being disposable, that it's risky, there is uncertainty, but there's still more space And I want you to imagine that goldfish, if it spent 1 or 2 years in the pond, may already grow 2 or 3 times bigger, simply because it has more space. People grow proportionate to their environment. A goldfish will never grow bigger than the bowl, but in a pond it can grow much bigger. And I want you to get a sense that you have ambitions beyond the pond. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a huge lake. Some lakes in the world are bigger than the entire island of the United Kingdom. That is a big lake. I want you to imagine the Great Lakes. Several countries could fit in that single lake. And imagine putting that goldfish there in the lake, bigger than a country. There is no limit to how big that goldfish could grow. There's more risks there in the big lake because there's bigger fish that also exist there. But there's also more food, more opportunity. The goldfish in the lake doesn't wait to be fed. They find their own food. The fish in the lake can find like-minded fish and create a school of fish. Safety in numbers. I want you to imagine what it would be like if you'd only ever lived in the bowl. Moving to the pond would feel like so liberating and free. But what if you were in the pond and never knew that the lake existed? You would never know just how big you can grow. But I want you to imagine that the lake represents ownership, your own business, on your own terms. I want you to imagine that there's so much space, so much opportunity, things can expand. The fish in the bowl is dependent on the owner. The fish in the lake needs to be resourceful, make their own choices and decisions, find their own food. But with great responsibility comes great power. And I want you to imagine feeling that power. The power of how you spend your time, how you allocate resources, what you do differently. Feel infinite creative freedom. And any fish in the bowl would have so much respect for a fish choosing to live in the lake. Think of all that credibility, that status, all of that opportunity. I want you to get a feeling of the zoo animal's dilemma. I want you to think of your favorite animal. Maybe it's a tiger, a lion, a monkey, or something else. And when you can think of that animal, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to think that that animal in the zoo has regular meals, a vet if they ever get sick. That animal has other animals in the same situation. That animal has the illusion of freedom, but only within their cage. I want you to get a sense that being an employee is like being a caged zoo animal. An element of security, a bit of safety, even a bit of comfort, but not quite freedom. And the same animal in the wild is not guaranteed their regular meals. There's no vet on hand if they get sick. But there is choice, autonomy, freedom. People that were meant to be employees their whole life, they want to be like the caged zoo animal. They want things predictable, comfortable, safe. But what if the zoo closes down? Sometimes safety is an illusion. Entrepreneurs, business owners, they would trade that security and safety for the freedom of the wild every day of the week, because they are confident that they will find their own food, make their own home, live life on their terms. And I want you to feel that there is a way to escape from the zoo. I want you to get a feeling that you feel a desire to escape the zoo by acting like you're already in the wild. And I want you to imagine now thinking of your future. What would it be like to stay the next 5 years as an employee? Exploited, trapped, undervalued. Or maybe 5 years as a freelancer, stressed and hectic, not knowing when the next project is coming, and no safety net if you get sick. Or think of yourself 5 years as an owner. Maybe having staff, long-term contracts, quality work and being paid well, high profit margins. I want you to get a sense that you get to choose your future. And if you know which future you desire, perhaps the fish in the lake, the animal no longer in the zoo, being the master of your own destiny, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to get a feeling now. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it step by step, action by action, one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And I want you to think of 3 easy wins that only an owner would do. Your own company name, your own materials, your own services or pricing or packages, or something else. And when you can think of those 3 manageable things that put you in the direction of the owner, then it means you are already the owner, because that's what owners do. They build. They don't work. They construct. They are building something, not simply doing the work. What you've thought about what those things could be? Imagine planting 3 seeds in the ground, seeing them start to sprout. Because these are more than just token gestures. This is you stepping into your true identity. No longer hoping or waiting to be, but actually being. And when your unconscious is ready to step into that identity, it even changes what being an employee is. Because a future owner, as an employee, starts seeing ways that they can take inspiration for their own business, even while being an employee for someone else's. They start looking at processes, documents, systems entirely differently, looking to emulate what works and improve what doesn't. But it starts with the identity, and it's followed by the intention, and then followed by the action. And if you're ready to be that identity in advance, knowing that you will acquire the skills when you need them, let me know by nodding your head. Time to leave this place, but in leaving, I want you to see a large goldfish in a lake, perhaps 10 times bigger than the entire fishbowl they used to be in. I want you to see that animal in the wild thriving. And I want you to see the future version of you, grateful for you to decide who you are at your core. It's time to drift back now, so take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.